Hello there guys, this is RuneSources where I compile different rune resources to make the best bite-sized video guides. I also use my own experience to make the guides, which is what I did for this video. Today's guide is on how to use melee abilities effectively in the evolution of combat to get those fast kills in PvM or PvP scenarios, and especially to get quick kills instead of using momentum. For testing the abilities, I use the training dummies at the Evolution of Combat learning area, and I set them to melee and also had no weakness and stronger than me to simulate someone that was of an equal level with some armor or a boss monster to get accurate data. Alright, I also want to mention that for testing the abilities, I used the ability 20 different times, recorded the amount I hit on the dummy, whether it was 3000 or it was a 0. I compiled all of the data, added it together, and divided it by 20 to gain an average damage per hit that you could expect. So, without further ado, let's get into how to use your abilities effectively and which abilities are the most effective. Alright, so for your dual wield basic abilities, your ability bar is going to be set up with Slice, Fury, Decimate, Dismember, and Sever. This list is from weakest to strongest. You're going to be using Slice more often than the others since the cooldown time is the least, just to get your ability and your adrenaline up as much as possible to get to threshold. You're going to want to use Decimate and Dismember as much as you can since these two abilities do the most damage, and also Dismember is very nice to use in combination with a threshold ability because it's a bleed ability. Okay, so for the second half of your ability bar, this is from strongest to weakest, and I'll explain why Slaughter's at the top of this one in a second, but it's going to go Slaughter, Destroy, Assault, Flurry, and Frenzy for your ultimate. I consider Slaughter the best, not because of the average damage that it gives, but because you can use it in combination with another threshold ability, since it's a bleed ability. So there'll be lots of hit splats going on that one person, and you don't have to wait for that animation to be over to get that 2000 average damage. And you can also use Destroy at the same time, so you can get a massive 5000 damage in the same amount of time as just using Destroy by itself. Um, Frenzy I consider the best ultimate ability to use because it can get your target almost 50% of its maximum health gone if they don't move out of the ability area, and it utilizes the dual wielding aspect. I don't know how to put that, but some other abilities don't utilize it. Okay, so if you're using a two-handed weapon, your ability bar is going to be set up with Slice, Cleave, Fury, Dismember, and Sever. This list is from weakest to strongest, strongest being Sever. I consider Sever being one of the strongest, maybe tied with Dismember, just because not only do you get that 927 average damage on use, but you also reduce 10% of damage incoming for 10 seconds, which could be very useful in a PvP or PvM fight still. Also, I consider Dismember very useful, even though you see Fury and Cleave there have higher averages because of its bleed effect. That means you can use another ability while that one's still in use, still bleeding them. Also, you're going to use Slice the most, just like your dual wields, because it has the lowest cooldown time to get to your threshold abilities as quickly as possible. Alright guys, so for the last setup or the last portion of your two-handed ability bar, it's going to start with Slaughter, Assault, Hurricane, Quake, and as your ultimate ability, it will be Meteor Strike. So I consider Slaughter to be the most powerful in this list out of these four threshold abilities because it has the ability to bleed over time without having to wait 3 or 4 seconds for your ability animation to go through. So you can just stab them, walk away, get them to move, get that 3 times bleed ability going, and then use Assault straight after to do a whopping 5,000 damage right off the bat there. The other two, Hurricane and Quake, not so good, maybe in a 1 versus 1 kind of scenario, but if you're doing bosses or Slayer with multi in it or anything like that, Hurricane and Quake can be useful to take down a lot of enemies at once. Okay, so now let's talk about building up your adrenaline. To build up your adrenaline, you're going to want to constantly be using basic abilities from strongest to weakest as much as possible. Also, using adrenaline potions can help this a lot. At this point, you're also going to not want to eat food as often. You're going to only eat food when it's absolutely necessary to stay alive, because you're going to want to get to those threshold abilities where most of your damage is going to be taking place. Okay, so I would save up your adrenaline until you have enough to pop off at least 2 threshold abilities, just so it's not too much of a waste. And the 2 threshold abilities that I would pop off first would have to be Slaughter to get a good bleed effect going on whatever enemy you're killing, as well right after a high powerful other threshold ability, your next powerful threshold ability. For dual wields, that would be Destroy, for example. Alright, so to kill like boss monsters, for example, you're going to follow that routine over and over again using the Slaughter and the highest level threshold ability available to you, which could be Assault if the cooldown time for Destroy is still down, whatever. And then also another good KO tactic would be using Slaughter again. Slaughter, you're going to notice, is one of my favorite abilities. So get close to your ultimate ability or at your ultimate ability, and then use your Slaughter ability, and that'll start the bleed effect on them. And then from there, you can use 1 or 2 basic abilities, or the best, if you have adrenaline potions unlocked, use an adrenaline potion right after you use that Slaughter ability, and then unload your ultimate ability. So the bleed effect's still going to be going on them, and plus you're going to have your ultimate ability going on them at the same time to do a ton of damage. Of course, these are only ideas as what you can do with your abilities and how to string them together. There are many more combinations out there for you guys to find. But yeah, I hope this video helped you guys in how to use your abilities effectively and how to string them together to get the fastest kills possible. Also, guys, if you guys enjoy scaping while watching a YouTube video, and just trying to spend your time AFKing or training or whatever, then I suggest you guys check out my Call of Duty gameplay videos, which also have commentaries on them. So if you guys don't enjoy or don't want to watch the gameplays, you guys can always just listen to me rambling on about random stuff that's usually pretty funny in my Call of Duty gameplays. Anyways, that's all I've got to say for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching again. Give me a like if you really liked this video and if you thought it was well done. Subscribe if you want to see more, and check out those 2 videos below, okay? There's more RuneScape videos to come. And hey, like I said, check out those Call of Duty videos. They're pretty entertaining. See ya.